Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get into it. All right. So as you guys come in, please make sure that you smash that like button. All right. Also, make sure that you guys share the video out, hit the bell icon twice if you're not subscribed so that you are able to chat. All right. And let's actually talk about some topics. All right. I've got some interesting things that you all might want to see. I got some things that you might not want to see. But we're going to look at them and we're going to take a look and we are going to discuss them. All right. So let's get into the first thing. The first thing is an article. And if you guys are familiar with my content, then you know who this woman is. An article about Baba Vanga. All right. And this article comes from Mirror. Okay. And it says blind mystic Baba Vanga, who predicted 9/11, said that Putin will be Lord of the world. Now, this article came out on March 26th, which was yesterday. And if you guys know about this lady, she died. She died at the age of 85, which is interesting because allegedly her predictions were 85% accurate. All right. So that's kind of an interesting correlation there. Blind mystic Baba Vega, who predicted 9/11, said Putin will be Lord of the world. The psychic made hundreds of predictions in her 50-year career, including accurately predicting the sinking of the Kursk in 2000. Her millions of followers believe she had paranormal abilities, including telepathy, and could communicate with aliens. A blind mystic who foresaw the Russian war in Ukraine predicted Putin would become, quote, the Lord of the world. Baba Vanga saw many natural disasters and warned about conflicts before they happened. She died in the mid-90s at age 85, but the Eastern European hinted at what we could in the future and become known, or I'm sorry, but the Eastern European hinted at what we could in the future and became known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans. It has now been suggested that she predicted Vladimir Putin and Russia will dominate the world. In a meeting with writer Valentin Sidorov, Vanga in 1979, Birmingham Live reported that she said, all will thaw as if ice. Only one remained untouched, Vladimir's glory, glory of Russia. Too much it is brought in a victim. Nobody can stop Russia. All will be removed by her from the way, and not only will be kept, but also become the lords of the world. Before her death, Vanga predicted glorious future for Russia once more, the Daily Post reported. According to the clairvoyant, Russia will be the world's only superpower. She also made a chilling prophecy about the use of nuclear weapons in World War III. Blinded after being picked up by a freak tornado as a child, Baba Vanga, born Vangela Gustrova, believed she had the ability to foresee the future. She repeatedly made hundreds of predictions in her 50-year career. She shot to prominence after accurately predicting the sinking of the Kursk in 2000. Her millions of followers believed that she had paranormal abilities, including telepathy and being able to communicate with aliens. Her numerous predictions about the world, events, and state of humanity have become infamous, including claims she predicted the rise of ISIS and the fall of Twin Towers. The Irish Mirror also told of her chilling predictions today and how some of them have come true. Specialists have since calculated that her 68% of her of her prophecies had happened, slightly less than the 85% claimed by her followers. Okay, so according to some specialists who did a numerical analysis, that number is 68%. I guess the 85% is a number that was claimed by her followers. We got Ashanti Black in the building. What up with it, Ashanti Black? Good to see you as always, bro. And we got Carla in the building. What up with it, Carla? Good to see you as always. Hopefully everything is good. So what do you guys think about this so far? This kind of stuff always interests me. Have you guys ever heard of Edgar Casey? You guys should really look up all the prophecies of Baba Vanga and look up all of the prophecies of Edgar Casey. And we should discuss them one day on a stream. That would be extremely interesting, in my opinion. All right. These are some of her other predictions. The Kursk nuclear submarine disaster. In 1980, the blind prophetess predicted that in August of 1999, Kursk will be covered with water and the world will weep over it. Kursk was a Russian sub that sank in the Barents Sea on August 12th of 2000, killing all aboard. Another thing that she predicted was 9/11. In 1989, Baba Vanga said, horror, horror, the American brethren will fall after being attacked by the steel birds. The wolves will be howling in a bush and innocent blood will be gushing. On November 11th, and if you pay attention, look at the 11, how the 11s are two of the same thing standing next to each other. 1 and 1 looks like two twin towers. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that, but 2001, planes hijacked by Islamic extremists allegedly hit the World Trade Tower in New York, killing thousands of people. Another thing that she predicted, which we all knew, but she predicted it, Europe will cease to exist. Look at what's going on over there right now. Look what coronavirus is doing. You know what I'm saying? According to Baba Vanga, the continent will cease to exist by 2016, and all that would remain will be empty spaces and wasteland nearly devoid of any form of life. Clearly not exactly right, but the UK did vote to leave the EU on June 23rd of 2016, creating a lot of turmoil. She is reported to have said that chemical weapons would be used by extremists against Europe, or perhaps a nerve agent, which is interesting. Barack Obama will be the last president of the United States. Baba Vanga had predicted that the 44th U.S. president would be an African American, but she also added that he would be the last one. Maybe what she meant was that he'd be the last African American president. She claimed he would leave office at a time when the country would be in economic ruins, and there would be a huge divide between the northern and the southern states, as was the case during the Civil War. I mean, that part is actually accurate to me. I mean, nowadays, they're literally saying that there's going to be a civil war, white people at least. Baba also appeared to predict that the 45th president of the United States, who we now know to be Donald Trump, would be faced with a crisis which would bring the country down. I mean, Donald Trump isn't being faced with that crisis right now, but looks like Joe Biden is mismanaging a lot of crises. Her chilling prediction states everyone will put their hopes in him to end it, but the opposite will happen. He will bring the country down and conflicts between the North and the South states will escalate. So basically what they're saying is that people are putting their hopes in whoever the president is, which they're saying it was Donald Trump, but it looks more like Joe Biden. And instead of ending the issues, what's going to happen is that he's going to escalate the issues, which interestingly is what seems like is going on. Off the chain. Some speculate the references to North and South could mean North and South Korea. No, I think they mean white liberals and white Republicans. That's what I think they mean. World War III. Baba Vanga's predictions have been revisited after another mystic who apparently foretold Donald Trump's presidency claimed to know the exact date World War III will start. Self-proclaimed messenger of God, Horacio Villegas, believed nuclear war will break out on the 100th anniversary of the visitation of Our Lady of Fatima. The clairvoyant claims to have envisioned Trump would win the U.S. election as far back as 2015. He reportedly predicted the billionaire businessman would become the, quote, Illuminati king who will bring the world into World War III. The 2004 Boxing Day tsunami. Cold regions will become warm and volcanoes will awaken. That's interesting because the poles are shifting. And we got that whole Yellowstone thing. A huge wave will cover a big coast covered with people and towns, and everything will disappear beneath the water. Everything will melt, just like ice. China rises. Look at this. Hey, what up with it, 666? What's good with you, bro? According to the prophetess, China will become a world power in 2018. That was pretty accurate, down to the date. She's probably out a few years here, as China is already an economic and military powerhouse. We've also apparently got a change in the Earth's orbit to look forward to sometime before 2023. A golden age. Now that's interesting. That's actually very interesting. This golden age thing. A new energy source will be created and global hunger will start to be eradicated between 2025 and 2028. A manned spacecraft to Venus will be launched. And I think she made a mistake. I think she meant Mars here. From 2033 through 2045, polar ice caps will melt, causing ocean levels to rise, which is interesting. We see that going down right now. Cloning of organs, which they're doing cloning of organs and 3D printing. What up with the FU2? What's good with you, bro? Baba Vanga predicted that body organs will be cloned by 2046, which they're actually doing that already. And that would be the easiest method of treatment, red and green. Between 2072 and 2086, a classless communist society will thrive in hand with newly restored nature. Now here she says Mars attacks. A lot happened from 2170 to 2256, including a Mars colony becoming a nuclear power and demanding independence from Earth, the establishment of an underwater city, and the discovery of something terrible during the search for alien life. Sometime between 2262 and 2304 will crack time travel. Meanwhile, French guerrillas fight Muslim authorities in France. The secrets of the moon will be unveiled. The end of the world. By 3797, everything on Earth will cease to exist. However, humans will be advanced enough to move to a new star system. That's interesting. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? That's pretty interesting, huh? If you guys can, please make sure you guys smash that like button. All right, so you guys aware that sheriff, the gang leader, the corrupt cop in LA, guy named Villanueva? Let's take a listen to what this dude said.
LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva responding to explosive comments he made about race and aspects of Black culture. Tonight, he is anything but apologetic. Gina Silva spoke with the sheriff tonight and lots of folks in the community. She joins us live. Gina.
Well, Alex, Sheriff Villanueva made those comments to Gustavo Arellano of the LA Times. Tonight, the sheriff says he was the target of a hit piece.
Only he knows why he thinks that way, but I definitely did not agree with any of what he said at all.
LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano says he interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss.
So this is what I'm talking about. This is interesting. This is the Latino dude who's mixed up and thinks that he's a white supremacist. Pay very close attention to this.
County Sheriff Alex Villanueva responding to explosive comments he made about race and aspects of Black culture. Tonight, he is anything but apologetic. Gina Silva spoke with the sheriff tonight and lots of folks in the community. She joins us live. Gina.
Well, Alex, Sheriff Villanueva made those comments to Gustavo Arellano of the LA Times. Tonight, the sheriff says he was the target of a hit piece.
Only he knows why he thinks that way, but I definitely did not agree with any of what he said at all.
LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano says he interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss Latino issues, but somehow the subject turned to African Americans.
What's up with that? Why is it that white people, Asians, and Latinos can't stay focused on their own issues? You think it's because they have too many? Ukraine, coronavirus, low birth rate. In his case, the gangs that he orchestrates, the banditos and the executioners. That's interesting.
He brought up one of the most noxious strains that Latinos have latently in us, which is an anti-blackness. That is absolutely true.
Did you hear what he said? So now this guy, the newspaper columnist, didn't deny it either. He said that us Latinos have in us anti-blackness. So this guy is admitting it. So pay attention.
Interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss Latino issues, but somehow the subject turned to African Americans.
He brought up one of the most noxious strains that Latinos have latently in us, which
he said Latinos have latently in us. So this guy, Gustavo, he's being honest about his culture. He's being honest about his culture. Nothing better than when it comes right out of the mouth.
Issues, but somehow the subject turned to African Americans.
He brought up one of the most noxious strains that Latinos have latently in us, which is an anti-blackness. That is absolutely true. In that sense, he does exemplify one of the worst traits that Latinos have.
The sheriff was quoted as saying, "Today, activists are running around saying that law enforcement are slave catchers. We don't have the same perspective in the Latino community."
Because Latinos were never slaves. So why would you have that perspective? Why would we need to share a perspective with you? Do you see how lukewarm and low IQ these people are? Think about that. I want you guys to answer that question in the comments. Why would we share a perspective with you? You have a completely different culture, and you treat the Latinos in your culture that are black like shit. So why would there be any shared perspective? The expectation of a shared perspective is absurd. Now, I told you guys about this guy a long time ago, and I've been talking about him. He's the guy that covers for those gangs. He covers for the executioners, and he covers for the banditos in the LAPD. I told you guys a long time ago that this dude was a white supremacist Latino. This is how most of them are. If you don't believe me that most of them are like that, listen to it come out of the horse's mouth.
Well, Alex, Sheriff Villanueva made those comments to Gustavo Arellano of the LA Times. Tonight, the sheriff says he was the target of a hit piece.
Only he knows why he thinks that way, but I definitely did not agree with any of what he said at all.
LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano says he interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss Latino.
And the reason why that happened is because black people don't do crime right. They took the gangs. They took the neighborhoods easily, just like people take everything easily from black people. You'd think black people would be tired of it. It's not a difficult task to take from black people. That's why people just do. Because they know that when they take from us, all we'll do is just turn around and fight each other, blame each other, instead of actually dealing with these people. Now, here's my question. Why don't we have a mafia mind state? Because there's a lot to go into mafia mind state. Anytime you guys hear me when I say black people don't even do crime right, that's what I'm talking about. You guys know how Mexican gangs work? If you guys know how Mexican gangs work, type in a 1. If you don't, type in a 2. Do you know how black gangs work? I don't even think black gangs themselves know how they work. If you pay attention and you look at most Mexican gangs have a number 13 associated with them. The number 13 is the letter M. And that M stands for La M. La M controls a lot of cartels in Mexico, and they control every Mexican prison gang and some Salvadorian prison gangs. They also work with Latino biker gangs. All of these gangs are organized, and at times they fight over borders, but they all follow a central command. And that central command comes from La M. Yeah, Southern is the Sureños, and 14 is the Northern gang, which is the Norteños. That just means what part you're from, north or south. There's a rhyme and a reason and a system. Now, how do black gangs work? You just kill whoever you want. You don't listen to your OGs. You don't reinvest into the neighborhood to create a legitimate business. Shoot all over the place. Kids get killed. Women get beat up. So if you're operating kind of stupid like that, it's really difficult to justify saying, well, these people came in and took. I don't see it like that. I see it like we gave this away because people want to be stupid. Because stupid is cool. The black criminals never really tried to get anybody into the police force so they could have a corrupt cop on the inside. What is the actual strategy of black crime? Can anybody tell me? When it comes to Mexican, Latino crimes, a lot of those crimes are to improve the country's GDP. Because a lot of those Latino and Latin American countries, their number one products are drug plants. One of the reasons why the United States have some illegal is to economically strangulate those countries. Venezuela, Bolivia. So they run drugs. That's one of the reasons why the United States has a big issue with Mexico in the border, because they know what Mexico does. The CIA buys drugs from the cartel. Anytime Mexicans can get somebody over the border and bypass Border Patrol, they can send it directly to a connect here in the United States and not necessarily go through the CIA. That's how it is, Jay. You know they be playing. So my question is, what's the goal of black crime? Is there one? What's the goal? A lot of times, a lot of these stupid ass violent crimes is to pay for the next rock. That's a pretty short-term goal. A lot of these cartels, I don't know if you guys know, but the word cartel means family. Generations upon generations upon generations of these people run these crime families. It's the same way in the mafia. So my question is, what's the goal? What are black criminals trying to do? What are they trying to achieve? What kind of legitimate business are they trying to start? What up with the Sarah Lynn? What's good? Yeah, Gustavo is blatant and blunt. Even the black criminals do not have honor. They are not on code. No honor amongst them. Yeah, I agree. And that's why you see the failures that you see. And that's why you see these other criminals have these long, sustainable crime families that can, at some point, integrate into regular corporate businesses and still be grimy on the side. So one thing that we got to stop doing is like, we have to start saying we fuck shit up royally. They took our neighborhoods. No, they didn't take our neighborhoods. Everybody knows what a robbery looks like. Yeah, all the people want to be Frank Lucas, but they don't act like Frank Lucas at all. Frank Lucas put together a network. He found a distributor. He had a professional product. He employed his family. He gave back to his neighborhood. Now, am I telling anybody to go out and be a criminal? No, but I mean, for Christ's sakes, if you're going to be one, at least be one like that. Everybody want to be Frank Lucas, but they out here acting like Nicky Bonds. And then it's ooh wee, ooh woo woo, woo woo woo, pour us, woo, pour us. No. See, because a real criminal would have bought the block up. That's how Little Italy stays and doesn't get gentrified. Because one of the first things that the mafia does is they buy up the neighborhood and then they employ their mom and pops. That's why they call it a mom and pop store. I've never once seen a black criminal buy up a block to block out gentrification. These criminal organizations understand politics better than middle-class black people. You don't have to be a criminal to move like that. If you're a middle-class person, you can do it legitimately. You can get with some other people and just say, hey, you know, we're gonna buy up the 2400 block. We're gonna set up some businesses. We're gonna buy a laundromat on the first floor. This whole strip is gonna be ours. That's literally what these criminal organizations do. You know what the criminal organizations do? They pay for their nephew to go to college. Guess what to be? A lawyer. So when they get knocked, like they know that they eventually will, guess what they're not paying for? Per hour legal fees. Their lawyer owes them. That's how the mafia became legitimized. Motorcycle gangs do it too. Yeah, black people are very different. Very different. different in the fact that there's no survival instinct, different in the fact that for some reason we continue to do the same shit and do not think that it's insanity. Mexican people have a generation of people inside of their home. They have the great grandmother who they're very respectful to. Then they had a grandmother, the abuela. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the younger kids. You see this portrayed in the movies. I mean, this is real. You know what I mean? It's not just Mexicans, you know, Central Americans, other Latino, other groups of people, not just Latinos. Italians are the same way. I don't know where black people came up with this "you're out at 18" shit. Not cool. Some of the dumbest, most ignorant shit that you can do. You've basically already killed your kids' chances of credit. I don't understand it. And that's the problem, FU2. Me personally, I don't care what our people want. They clearly don't have a priority of what they need. I don't want to go to work. I need a paycheck. I know the difference. People either want to remain subjugated under white supremacy or they don't. And I haven't seen any evidence that people don't. I've seen evidence that a small group of people don't, but not the collective. I see that the collective likes to be heard about complaining about it. That's what I see. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to say their piece. But when it comes to actually doing some action that we're responsible for, that it's up to us solely for to succeed with, nobody's willing to jump in front of that line. And we'll stay where we are. And then as long as we continue to make that conscious choice, we got to ask ourselves, where's the first layer of subjugation at? The first layer of subjugation is inside of our own brain. Yeah, we did used to have, and even if we didn't have extending, even if we didn't have an extended family, Carla, we had, close families. You know what I mean? Like the grandmother and the grandfather and all the cousins. It wasn't just like a family reunion, or it wasn't just like in a family member's Facebook post. You know? My thing is, though, even if you had a for yourself mentality, you can still do the for yourself mentality properly. You can still do it correctly. People can say that criminals are for themselves, you know? Everybody else does crime very different than black people do crime. Everybody else, literally everybody else. Pay attention to how everybody else does crime. When I was young, I remember seeing generations of families living together in the same household. Rob, you are absolutely correct. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody tells me to shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about when I said, no, I would never be rude to you like that, bro. I don't agree with the unity thing, but I get what you're saying. And I agree. But I think people need to get right themselves first, because if you're going to have unity, if you unite and there's a defective, infective element, then it's going to spread to the other people that are involved in that unity, and it's going to be messed up. And in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why every single united effort that black people does fails, because people don't have their own minds right. Everybody busy watching everybody else. That's why infiltration is easy. There's no priority, even in Africa, no code. Yeah, I agree. It's all about just low impulse. Everything is low impulse. Ooh, can I get $1? Anything that you could do for $1. Ooh, my mama, I got her right here. I'll sell her. Like, there's no like long-term prioritization. There's no 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100-year plan. What's the plan? How come nobody has a plan to take over their city? You should have a plan to take over your city within 3 generations. During that 3 generations, the plan to take over the state should be being formed. While you're running the state, you should be cultivating the seeds to take over the nation. And while you're taking over the nation, the next step should be to take over the world. The Bushes did it. Vladimir Putin did it. Xi Jinping did it. I'm convinced that we don't want to. Because when we want to do something, all of a sudden white supremacy disappears. I do understand the fear tactics that Mexicans use. I know exactly what they do. How do you know that I haven't ever been threatened by any of those? Ice Cube was. I don't know if you know about that. I don't care about fear. That's the problem. We care about fear too much. We need to stop being cowards. The word fear needs to be extracted completely out of our vocabulary. What they do, threaten? They're going to get a machete. They're going to leave your head in the Suarez Desert. I know mafia gives protection in and out of jail, more than just the mafia. Motorcycle gangs. What's the name of the motorcycle gang? They got a Banditos motorcycle gang, the Mongols. They got all kinds of Houston. They got the Astros prison gang. There's gangs in the Arizona prison system. Okay. What's up with the Black Mafia family, the Black Guerrilla family? Oh, nothing. Where's our protection, and why aren't we building protection? Why are we going around cowering about what other people have instead of out competing them? That's the problem. When you don't adapt, you die. There's no excuse for anything other than survival. Like, meteor magnet is the only solution. Facts. What up with it, Bronze? Welfare subsidies, segregation, killed that. Okay. And whose stupid ass fault was it that they fell for that shit? Bad leadership that nobody wants to call out so that people keep doing the same stupid ass shit. Here's my thing. All the excuses that everybody has, if these are excuses, then that means that we need to be subjugated because white supremacy is just that much smarter than us that we can't do anything except for fall for stupid ass tricks. So if that's the case, then we don't need to complain about anything. I could have just not done shit and failed out of school and said, you know what? School was just too hard. They got me with math. They got me with science. The fuck? Stop having low impulse control. Who gives a fuck about a welfare subsidy? Don't take it. You feel what I'm saying? But people go for that shit. They go for that carrot in front of their face. And don't think that I'm coming at you, F you too, because I'm not. I'm just using what you said as an example. Segregation. I mean, so what? As far I don't understand why black people complain about segregation. I talk to white people. I have white friends. You know what I mean? No, I know, bro. Don't trip. You good. But like nowadays, people act like they want to be segregated. Anytime you deal with a white person or anytime you friends with a white person or anything, you a coon. So like, I don't understand how the mind state shifted from, oh, we want to be integrated to nowadays we are integrated and we act like we want to be segregated again. You see, does that make any sense? We got to pick one and stick with it. You know how long the KKK been around? Those generational crimes that I was talking about, Ahmaud Arbery, that dude with the FedEx truck, father and son crimes. What black organization been around that long? Every year is something new. Black Lives Matter, the new Black Panthers. You notice how the KKK never changes? It's always just the KKK. You notice how neo-Nazis never change? It's just the neo-Nazis. You notice how the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club never changes? They've been around since the Vietnam War. Think about that. Why is it that our shit fails all the time? Somebody needs to answer that question. It's embarrassing, especially for somebody like me, because I have stellar expectations of us. My only interactions with whites are at the job when we moved in our neighborhood, and they were there. They moved out. Some people are like that, bro. Who cares? If they cool, they cool. If they not, fuck them. You know what I mean? That's how we gotta do that. If you cool, you cool. If you not, you not. And keep it moving. You know what I mean? We gotta have that discernment to be able to tell. I think honestly that's one of the problems, and I think that's one of the reasons why shit gets co-opted so damn much. People don't have no discernment. More government intervention. How is it that black people who are just existing allow more government intervention into our lives than criminal organizations? How does that work? Like, if I just have a family and my family is just sitting here, how do I blame the government that my life is in shambles, but there's a whole ass criminal organization that's literally breaking every law known to man, and they're able to figure out a way to survive? There's no excuses. Why is it that we're not trying to integrate so that we can change the government into the government? Why would people be around people that literally, well, it depends on if people hate you or not. You need to be able to discern, do people hate me or do they not? You know what I mean? Me personally, I really don't interact with people until people interact with me. I don't care if they hate me or not. If that's emotion based. Business is business. This is the kind of shit that we do. Do you think that white people like Mexicans? No. But I'll tell you what, though, that Aryan Nation and that Mexican mafia, they got a tight little bond. Now, why is it that other people can work together, even if they hate each other for business, but we just can't do anything because our emotions are ruling us? Again, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because it substantiates people looking at us like we need special treatment, and I don't think we do. School segregation is still practiced here in Oregon. So how come, if that's the case, and I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, why don't black people make their school system better than the white school system? I don't understand if white people see, like I said, me personally, I don't care. I'll interact and I'll work with any group. But we can't complain about segregation if we don't utilize that segregation to make our shit better on our own. All the time when we're talking about segregation, most of the weight of the complaint that I hear is just that you're not around white people. But everybody talks so tough, like they don't want to be around white people anyway. So what's the problem? They're doing you a favor, right? Now you have the whole black area just to yourself to deal with. So they did you a favor. So here go my question, Jay. Why is that? The white struggle is cheaper than the black struggle. You get more for your dollar. Well, but now why is that though? Why would the white struggle be cheaper than the black struggle? Yeah, I see crackheads and motherfuckers selling drugs on every block. I live in the city. That's what I see. I see motherfuckers practicing degeneracy instead of practicing empowerment. That's what I see all over the damn place. And I don't see very many white people around except for coming through to arrest the motherfuckers. I don't see I only see a gun to people's head when people getting robbed or the police is chasing somebody. I don't see nobody putting a gun to people's head to buy drugs. I don't see a gun to nobody's head to make people make bad decisions. I don't see none of that shit. And I live in the hood. I agree, Jay. Black people need to be at the school boards choosing the right leadership. Or just being the leadership themselves. Here's my question. That's a good point. Let's actually talk about that. Did black people progress? Is that what happened? Are we being honest about that situation? Did black people progress, or did Ford just happen to move there? I don't understand how we can say that black people progressed when we saw the interview and the black man from that neighborhood said, "Oh, thank the Lord that they put this here. Now I can actually have a job." Okay, right. So Val, so here's my thing, right? So let's take that. Let's make that a thing. And everybody says this, if integration is the worst thing that happened, being segregated currently should then make things better, right? Are you seeing evidence of that? I'm also from Texas, man, and I can tell you that TSU board has to be approved by the governor, which is ironic because what the fuck does he know about a school board? Yeah. No, I trust me, I get it. That's why it's important to know the positions. So Jay, then to me, my strategy would be, well, shouldn't we then make a black grassroots governor and try to get them installed so we can get that done? Or make a case, get some money, put together a super PAC? We need to stop making more excuses than we do solutions. That's one problem that we have. There's a huge issue with the ratio of how we deal with things. Anytime something is brought up, there's always a million reasons of why something can't get done or why we're not going to do it versus how to get it done. Honestly, I don't see any evidence that people want better. No, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at every single thing. Let's talk about lifetime's tenure slavery. Who's responsible for why slavery in the United States was lifetime tenure? Who was responsible for it? I competed against the people at my school and won. You just do it. When you got to give yourself no option. The only option is success. Especially, we don't have the luxury to be failing and making excuses. Black people are some of the smartest people in the world. And we also had less to eat. Shit, we were slaves for centuries in this country. And I agree, Val, we don't stick together like they did in Black Wall Street. But even in Black Wall Street, there was failures in Black Wall Street. I mean, you're literally surrounded by people who have shown for centuries that they have animosity, vitriol, and want to kill you. FU2 so blatantly stated it when I said that I don't care about working with other groups of people. Why would we work with people who hate us? Me personally, I don't think that all white people hate us, but it's not smart to assume that all white people aren't racist either. But I try to judge people on a individual basis. Now, if you've been surrounded during a time when all white people were racist and practiced racism, why the hell would you not get guns in a military and a militia? and have that shit surrounded. And where's the retaliation anytime some shit happens? Everybody always talk about the mafia. That's what the mafia does. The mafia retaliates when something bad happens. Who is Ricky Manor? Jay, I never heard of him. He a YouTuber, an ammo colonized and broken group of people, along with the indigenous of America. You could tell some black people some new shit, and like motherfuckers won't listen. I'm glad that I had the subscribers that I have. I'm glad because y'all are very open minded, and even when we don't agree on stuff, you guys are still willing to listen and still willing to at least hear me out. And I thank each and every one of y'all for that, because y'all don't have to be like that. You guys are not the majority. I hope you understand that. The people that are in here, Jay, Honda, Ashanti, Val, FU2, you guys are not the majority. I don't think so either. But my thing is back then, during the Black Wall Street days, during the pre-civil rights era, I would have been moving like they do. I'd have been moving like every white person hates me, especially if I was constantly seeing black people getting fucked up all over the place everywhere I turn my head. I'm the same way. But at the same time, though, I know what time it is too, though. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like to hear a good excuse. I think that's one of the reasons why people stay stuck telling old stupid ass stories and shit. Talking about old past greatness and shit. Because the more time you waste doing that, the less time you have to deal with what's actually going on right now in front of our face, which is nothing nice or pretty. Ricky Manor is a YouTuber, conservative, pro-black, pro-unit. How you he's a pro-black conservative? How's that work? You know, this dude right here, Villanueva, is conservative. And recently he's been calling out Brown and Angela Stanton for engaging in misguided behavior. My thing is, like, I get that, but like, that's another thing. Like, why don't he call out some white supremacists? You know what I mean? Like, my thing is with Kwame Brown, when Kwame first came on YouTube, he didn't come on YouTube with he did actually kind of come on with the dumb shit. He came on addressing Stephen A. Smith and Matt Barnes and Stack 5. You know what I mean? But then he stayed into that drama shit, though. He didn't never change his lane, which, I mean, it is what it is. People are allowed to do whatever they want to do. Kwame never came out and said that he was nobody's leader. He's a YouTuber. Before that, he was an athlete. Kwame, the main one, tell people not to trust athletes. So, I mean, if motherfuckers don't listen to what Kwame said after he said don't trust athletes and you still follow behind him, what does that say about you following him after he's told you that? You know what I mean? I don't really know too much about Angela Stanton, though. I know she was beefing with Candace Owens. Did he have anything to say about her then? Because that was way before all of this. A lot of these motherfuckers, man, they just want to get up somewhere and start pointing at other black people and shit. My thing is, if you're going to point at black people, point at the whole motherfucking community or point at yourself. Like that like makes people feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna sit over here and talk about Kwame Brown. Like, I mean, okay, like motherfuckers could, but I mean, Hassan Campbell does that shit all day. So clap, clap, clap. This black conservative dude is YouTubing like Hassan Campbell. You're awesome, dude. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but Kwame should stay the fuck out of politics. Brown politics are like Umar school, non-existent. I think most black people should stay out of politics. I don't think Kwame the only one that should stay out. I think most black people should stay out of politics. What do most motherfuckers know about politics? Niggas are dumb as fuck. Stupid motherfuckers been voting Democrat for 50 years, and anybody try to tell them anything different, they're a damn coon. And nowadays, everybody act like they knew what time it was. I got posts on Facebook when niggas was calling me a coon. Black people voted 89% for Joe Biden. It ain't not one black person in the world should be pointing their finger at another black person talking some shit about politics unless you was one of the original motherfuckers never rocking with any party and actually stood behind that shit. A lot of motherfuckers like to sit back and just criticize everything and not take a stance and then act like they called everything long time ago and all this bullshit. What up with the DJ Elmo? I think that I think it should have been a black militia, Val. I think it should be one now, but it got to be some real shit. It's got to be like some real actual militia shit. It's got to be some real like Azov Battalion, the black version shit. Them goofy ass motherfuckers, man. It was white boys on the internet all day making fun of them, not able to load the guns, shooting by accident, doing stupid ass shit. Like, man, nobody takes that shit serious. Here go my thing. How Kwame Brown is a man that's above 18 years old. He's filled out a selective service form, which means that he's eligible to vote. Anybody that's eligible to vote, why should they stay out of politics if they actually do engage in voting? But don't Kwame supports Candace Owens, don't he? Last time I checked. We're not talking about the ones that didn't, Honda. We're talking about the ones that did. Like, if I'm talking about criminals and somebody says, well, all black people aren't criminals, no shit. I'm talking about criminals. If I said the people that voted for Biden, that means the people that voted for Biden. And in that, under that umbrella would be all inclusive of clearly every single one of those people that voted for Biden voted. Black people need to stop trying to weasel out of shit and confront the issues right up the middle. I'm talking about the dumbasses that voted for Biden. If there's that 89% does not mean 89% of 13% of the population. It means 89% of the people that voted. You know what I'm saying? All 15 million of us will be 13% of the population. I'm talking about 89% of the people of that 15 million that voted. And like the thing is like we all know that. Like this is the shit that niggas got to stop doing. Like stop doing that shit. If motherfuckers was in front of a white person trying to get into a college, wouldn't nobody be talking like that? You'd be trying to be as accurate as you could. Like treat me with the same respect. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm smarter than that white person that anybody would be trying to get into college behind. Everybody knows that 100% of the United States population doesn't vote. We all know that. We have to stop with that shit. I like the idea of a black militia, Val. I think that's a great idea. It's just got to be serious. What's up with it, Vega? It's just got to be serious. It's just got to be not a joke. So many times shit is just joke. I have a kid that can't vote yet, is my point. But what does that have to do with what I'm talking about, though? Usually when we talk about voters, we're talking about eligible voters. That means people who are eligible to vote. Right? Like if we say like 15% of drivers on the road, it's assumed that we're talking about drivers who are eligible drivers. I just don't think 15 million can persuade an election. So here's my question. Why are you only which election are you talking about? There's multiple questions. Which election are you talking about? And how and what 15 million are you talking about? Because if you're talking about 15 million, you're talking about a federal election. Which particular election are you talking about? And what particular 15 million people are you talking about? White people voted 44% for Biden, and I believe they voted 45% for Trump. 44 and 45. You mean to tell me that you don't think that any percentage of anybody else would change that, and it's only like a 2 to 3% spread between how white people were split? We have to do better with basic shit like math. There's what's called margins. This is basic math shit. Margins. There's what's called an error margin. I'm talking about any election. Any election. Shit, a comptroller election. Let's go there. A sheriff election like this asshole right here on the screen. Let's go there. We don't know shit about politics. I do. But I was like, I was a nerd. I was a lame. You know what I'm saying? That shit wasn't important. My thing is, I gotta agree with Jay. I mean, Kwame. I mean, he always do be on some controversial shit. I agree with that. I think he has more ability to do meaningful content than he allows himself to show because of all the beefing and stuff that he does, right? Like, I agree with you on that. But I think it is important for him to show that he does have an interest in politics. Now, do I agree with his politics? I don't agree with all his politics. He's too far to the right for me. But I respect the fact that he talks about the shit, though. Yeah, we swing the vote. Why does everybody think that the Democrats are trying so hard to deal with the Asians and the Latinos now? The swing vote. I've done videos about this shit. Look up the swing vote, what the swing vote is. We just count ourselves out because of genetic cowardice. And that shit needs to stop. Well, if we do this, no, there's not even a such thing as if, because we just never even get to the point of doing everything. Motherfuckers get all knock-kneed and cowardly and start acting like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy about to go in a fucking haunted house. That shit is irking, man. That shit is nerve-wracking. Don't people want to have to tell their kids they proud of some shit? Sheriff is elected. The treasurer is elected. That's how I know who Josh Mandel is. Everybody just want to be in a sewing circle and get their nuts rubbed. Like, man, what the hell? In Oregon, there's about 2 million people with 5% black population. Now, let me ask you a question, Honda. What are people's goals in Oregon, and do they like it there? Are they satisfied with the way things are? Is there a need to change anything there? Do people get along? I don't know. That's on the other side of the United States for me. So I don't know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to think I'm trolling you or being disrespectful or no shit. I'm just asking for real, because I don't know. Black folks are a swing vote. Dems have been looking for a replacement swing vote for years. So they stupid. They think other groups want to vote for their nonsense. Yeah, and it's been proven that they don't. That's facts, Bronze. That's a great comment. I mean, this guy is a Latino. He's clearly right wing. Listen to him. My question for you, Honda, would be what are black political objectives in Oregon? What is something that you would like to see accomplished? Does anybody know what the objectives are? Like everybody that lives in a state, right? What are your objectives for that state? If I lived in one of the states and I lived in an area that I saw gentrified, the stopping or blocking or slowing the gentrification would be how I would strategize my voting ticket. So I guess my question is, what is the overall goal of your voting ticket? See, like if you ask people that question, I don't even think most people know. Because see, like here in Ohio, where I live at, ain't really shit going on. But now there's some areas in Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic, they gentrified the whole Fairfax area. Equality. With what? This is how we get in trouble. We say that we want equality, and then next thing you know, majority groups are benefiting the most from affirmative action. You can't do that. We can't say we want something specifically for black people, and then when somebody says, well, what is it that you want? Then we answer equality. Because there's many different ways that somebody can do equality. What we can do is we can keep you right where you are and then boost everybody. We can boot everybody else down, or we can lift you up to where everybody is. But I want to know about equality though. Let's stay on equality. What equality? And my thing is, if you don't know what you want, what does it matter about how the vote is? Your vote's not going to be meaningful and do shit anyway. What is it that you want to do with your vote? What is your goal? What are you and people like you or people around you or people that you had the same political objectives with? What is the goal of your votes? See, like if you go to a restaurant to get something to eat, you want to go there and be satisfied. How are you going to be satisfied? Your ticket. You're going to get an appetizer that you like, you're going to get a beverage that you like, and you're going to get a meal that you like, and possibly a dessert. How about resources and tangibles for our community? That's a good idea, Val. Now, what's a resource and tangible? What's a tangible resource for your community? See, these areas like New York, you know what I'm saying, like 212, Manhattan. I would think some, like real estate would be like a tangible thing. You know what I mean? They gentrified Harlem and shit. That's in Manhattan. Maybe you want to try to do something where it's easier for you to get a business so you can buy up some of that area and block out some of that gentrification. Like it's got to have a strategic approach. You see what I'm saying? And like my thing is that people are so bouncy, they don't sit down and think about, okay, well, what is the strategy? What is it that I want to do? I just want equality. That's not good enough. You see what equality got us? We can't criticize them, quote, old niggas if we're doing old nigga shit. You see what happened with equality? Now everybody's all kind of urban legends about equality. Motherfuckers just wanted sexual access to different races of women, and motherfuckers want to live next to white people and all this crazy ass shit, which who knows? Maybe it was an all-inclusive package. Maybe it was only those things and we just got freedom as a byproduct. I don't know. I wasn't inside those people's minds. But I explore all possibilities. To me, they're bringing in people that expect less. So when you say they're bringing in people that expect less, you're talking about, I'm assuming, immigration, right? Auto mechanics, construction to help rebuild the gentrification process. Okay, so then in your area, right? Now, see, this is what you got to pay attention to. How are you going to do this? Here's my thing though. We need to be concerned with the levels of us. We don't, in my opinion, the levels of white people are less of a concern than people think they are. Really, the only level that's of the most concern, that's the most harmful, that's the most dangerous, is people that could just get away with whatever they want, which is most and a lot, but not all. We need to deal with the levels of us. And what we need to do is make there only be one level, and that be a top level. Yeah, no doubt, Browns. Facts. So where you live at in Oregon, here's my question for you. Is it feasible for any black objective to get accomplished at all? Like, are there majority black areas, or how does that work? How's the distribution? How's the landscape of anything? Because like that's the shit that has to be planned and shit. See, like people don't take the time to do that shit because it's too much. Oh, this is just too much. I can't do this. It's just too much. I mean, last time I checked, I heard everybody was complaining that racism and white supremacy was too much. Now, when somebody say, okay, well, let's sit down and strategize some shit, now that's too much. Became that didn't okay. If that's too much, then that mean that racism and white supremacy ain't, and we just gonna live happily ever after. Like, you can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? So, like, my thing is, where's the most likely part of where you are where an impact could be made? Have you done that kind of assessment to say, well, my vote would be most effective here, 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 and here? Because my thing is, if you're in a majority white area, right? Like if you're a black person and you live in a majority white area, I don't know what you think you're going to do. And that don't even have anything to do with racism or white supremacy or any of that. It's just math. If there's a whole bunch of people that feel one way and you're surrounded by them and you're voting, which is based on math, I don't understand what you think your vote's going to do. I don't understand why you think that your vote should supersede the majority of other people either. There's ways that we can make ourselves a majority. And that's why people say concentrate on local politics, because that's probably the highest probability of being able to mobilize a majority. As far as what you were talking about earlier, nationwide, that's difficult. Does that make any sense? Let me know if I'm making sense. If I'm not, stop me and we'll elaborate a little bit more. But I think this is a good conversation, though. I think people need to talk about shit like that. I wish Izzy was here. Important. Oregon was meant to be a true utopia. Remember when black Oregon business owners were entitled to COVID relief and white organizations objected. Yeah, you remember back in the day when white people kicked black people out of Oregon? That happened. So while you guys are thinking of the answers to my questions, let's watch some more of this. And if you guys can, please make sure you guys smash that like button and also hit the bell, because I think that this is important. Resources like employment programs, nutrition programs, and educational services, hospitals, housing assistance, legal services. Now, here's my thing, Val. I agree, right? Jay, are you still in here? I agree Now, here's my question though. Are those things that we can start and cultivate ourselves and control? Or are those things that we should use the government for? Because the government, if the government controls them, the government is going to use Title IX and Title V, and we're not going to have as much control. And next thing you know, people like Villanueva are going to be benefiting from this and then turning around and telling us how much of N-words we are. And that's what we got to not have happen. So I agree. Employment programs, nutrition programs, educational services, hospitals, housing assistance, legal services, all great ideas. However, I don't think that those should be under the control of the government. I think that those are things that grassroots Black people need to establish, fully fund, and control 100% of. I don't think that those are anything that we don't need the government for, we shouldn't ask the government for. Anything that we can do ourselves, we need to do it ourselves. And I'm not saying that to try to go in on us. I'm saying that because if we do it ourselves, we can control it 100%. That's the most important thing, is control. If we ask the government for those things, then the government makes the rules. If we control it, we make company policy. The utopia is Biden's statement because of mixed relationships. Nah. I mean, the Pacific Northwest was actually set up to be when DJ Elmo is saying utopia, I think he's talking about a white supremacist ethno state. That's what Oregon and Washington were actually set up to be. And Joe Biden is an idiot. I agree. We should try to cultivate the grassroots. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you guys remember? That's what I'm saying. Like, every business that every Black person should make, it should be empowerment. Like, remember, I think Bronze was around back then. Bronze and DJ Elmo was around back then for sure. You Law too. When I did them videos about being the business of empowerment, your business should be empowerment. Like, if the United States is in the business of racism and white supremacy, then every Black person should be in the business of empowerment. Every mom and pop shop, any type of shit you sell on the side, any side hustle that you do, even when you're a criminal. That's why I'm telling you, the Black criminals don't do shit right. All other criminals empower their community. Even though they fuck it up, they empower it at the same time. Ours is just all negative. Shit, go look online. The Hells Angels be having toy runs and canned good runs. And all. When is the last time you seen Black people do that shit? Only time they have canned good runs is when a crackhead got canned goods in a plastic bag over their shoulders running down the street. That's our canned goods run. Tyrone, you know what I'm saying? Tyrone Biggums running down the street with some cans and shit. You know what I'm saying? A canned food drive. Motherfucking crackhead open up the damn car, hotwire that bitch, and drive off with somebody's motherfucking groceries in it. That's our canned food drive. Shit. We got to do better than that shit. And we can. Like, that's the thing. Like, we can. I'm not sitting here saying this shit to be mean. I'm not saying this shit to be hard on nobody. I'm not saying this shit to sound like I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. Man, I'm not. I'm not perfect at all. But my thing is that we can. It's not impossible. I don't want to be part of those civil rights era people. I want to be a part of the we took the shit down era. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the crackhead pipe Olympics, man, we can do better than that shit. Everything that we're doing, even the things that we're doing good, we can do better at. We shouldn't even have to worry about what white supremacy say. We should be our hardest critics. It shouldn't be shit anybody white could say that even fuck with your feelings, because the shit that you say about yourself until you've completed your goal is worse than any possible thing them motherfuckers could say. And the thing is that we can. And I'm telling you, when people and make that shit fashionable. That's why we got to take control of the media. And you put that image in front of everybody's face all the time, man. Take that degeneracy shit out of people's face. Look at this. Instead of showing some dummy on TV like Cardi B, I'm going to show somebody that's a suave lawyer and shit. This motherfucker's like a black James Bond. He a suave ass lawyer, just doing shit all the time, all over the place, being black than a motherfucker. Make that shit cool. Man, I'm about to look at my grades. The best part of the movie. Open up the report card. That shit is straight A's. Make that shit cool. Put that image in front of people's face 1,000,000 times until it changes how they think. That's what they do now with hip hop. That's why these people buy the hip hop companies. And then they have their aunts and uncles working as judges. The same group of people that owns hip hop, that owns Hollywood, they also man the positions that give you the consequences for acting out Hollywood and rap music. You don't think that shit's a family hustle? It's a rap to Hollywood to prison pipeline. All manned by the same conductors. I'm not even laughing at the meteorite magnet. That shit is real. When I moved to Oregon in 95, my economics professor said Oregon was supposed to be the rest haven after the race wars for white people. I ain't even had to say it because you said it for me. What's up, Mike? But am I lying though? Nobody noticed that? This group over here is in Hollywood. So they put the pictures in front of your face. This group over here owns the music that they put into your head. And this group over here deals with the results of all of the programming that you've gotten. I mean, somebody got to see that pattern and shit. It's a whole extortion racket, a generational programmable paycheck. We're a programmable paycheck to certain motherfuckers, man. A programmable paycheck. That's why they hate you when you smart. That's dollars out their pocket. One of you break the chain, they just lost a cycle. Look at this. Look at this. Dr. Claude Anderson or whoever it was that said that, talk about the money that passed through the neighborhood. Look at all the businesses that a black person passed through. We are the motherfucking money. We pass through the Hollywood. We pass through the rap music. We pass through the prison system. We pass through the fucking welfare system. We pass through the government. They pass us around 6 times. We change hands. We change custody 6 times. They don't even fuck with the money. Shit. We ourselves change hands 6 times. And they know that's how that shit go. And you cannot expect the government or anyone to save us. We have to do it. And Ted Cruz, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to deal with us. You know what I'm saying? Ted Cruz would also like to not think about slavery, and he doesn't think that white kids can be racist. I mean, what up with it, Bernie? Dollar leaves in about 10 hours. Shit, I don't know, Honda. The group of companies of the prison industrial complex? I don't know. Well, now we got a good amount of people in here. We got 12 people in here. So you guys think of some answers. Honda, we should check. Are you in college? We should check out some stuff. We should definitely check out some stuff. So let's listen to this real quick. Now we can listen to the whole thing. We got a nice little group.
LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva responding to explosive comments he made about race and aspects of Black culture. Tonight, he is anything but apologetic. Gina Silva.
Now, here's my question. What is Black culture? And what does Villanueva know about Black culture? I mean, what does he know about Black culture? What do you guys know about white culture? I don't know much about, quote, white culture. I know about certain European cultures, some of them, but I don't know about what a, quote, white culture is. What is Black culture? What is it? So, like, my thing, so they said that Villanueva has a problem with Black culture. What is Black culture? Usually when people like Villanueva are talking about Black culture, especially him being a cop, non-Black people consider criminality Black culture, despite the fact that a minority of Black people are criminals. Non-Black people consider criminality and degeneracy Black culture. If you guys agree with that, type in a 1. If you disagree, type in a 2.
Spoke with the sheriff tonight and lots of folks in the community. She joins us live. Gina.
Well, Alex, Sheriff Villanueva made those comments to Gustavo Arellano of the LA Times. Tonight, the sheriff says he was the target of a hit piece.
Only he knows why he thinks that way, but I definitely did not agree with any of what he said at all.
LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano says he interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss Latino issues, but somehow the subject turned to African Americans.
He brought up one of the most noxious strains that Latinos have latently in us, which is an anti-Blackness. That is absolutely true. In that sense,
So this is the crazy shit, right? How is it that they have an this is the shit that trips me out. Some of these groups never even came in contact with Black people until like the transatlantic slave trade and all of that stuff. How do you have an ingrained element of anti-Black culture? Like, that shit is just insane.
he does exemplify one of the worst traits that Latinos have.
The sheriff was quoted as saying, "Today, activists are running around saying that law enforcement are slave catchers. We don't have the same perspective in the Latino."
Okay, but listen to how disingenuous this is, Michael R. And I'm going to tell you, anytime somebody says this, always hit them back with this. If the rap companies, the hip hop companies, and the record labels are not owned and operated and defined by Black people, then how is it that that is what someone is equating with Black culture? How does that work? That's the question.
Community. Gustavo says Villanueva also expressed a dislike for the amount of media coverage.
I think this dude, Gustavo, Bernie, I think he's Mexican also. I think Villanueva is Mexican, and I think the Gustavo guy is Mexican also. I think they say that here.
Only he knows why he thinks that way, but I definitely did not agree with any of what he said at all.
LA Times columnist Gustavo Arellano says he interviewed LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to discuss Latino issues, but somehow the subject turned to African Americans.
He brought up one of the most noxious strains that Latinos have latently in us, which is an anti-blackness. That is absolutely true. In that sense, he does exemplify one of the worst traits that Latinos have.
Now check this out, though. Now, see, here's the thing, right? When it comes to all other groups, and don't think that I'm picking on you, Bernie, because I'm not. I'm just making an example. So don't. I don't want you to think that I'm picking on you. You see how Bernie said we ain't anti-everyone. I'm Mexican. We get along with all peoples. Bernie is cool as fuck. Bernie do get along with everybody. But the difference between what we got to deal with versus what everybody else got to deal with is that everybody else is allowed to be an individual. Anytime any black person does anything, all black people, including Neil deGrasse Tyson, have done it. This person right here, Anthony, these are the people that demand reparations. So let's break this down. This is a proud American, right? He's a proud American. You see the American flag. He's so smart that this post is about one individual. But he says these. These is when there's multiple individuals. There's one person that does some fuck shit in this video. Now, I'm not going to play this because YouTube will probably age restricted. But watch what he does. So he throws this bowl, right? Oh, wait a minute. No, he didn't throw the bowl. He hit this dude. So you see, he hit somebody, knocked him down. Now there's one black person in this picture, and I'm sure it's multiple black people at this Walmart. But because this one black person did this, who this black person might not even be foundational black American, this person here says these are the people that demand reparations. And it's just okay. And all white people follow suit. Like, but if Ethan Cromley does some shit and I say, yo, this dude is a Trump supporter, his parents are Trump supporters and they're white Christians. Well, that's them. I think he's just honest, Bernie. I don't really, I think he's just honest about himself. I know some Mexican people. I know a lot of Latino people, and just like anybody else, some are racist and some are not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that. I mean, I don't know why that reporter would have said that. But what I do find interesting is in the comedy special, George Lopez lightweight alluded to the same thing when he was talking about his grandma. You know what I'm saying?
The sheriff was quoted as saying, "Today, activists are running around saying that law enforcement are slave catchers. We don't have the same perspective in the Latino community." Gustavo says Villanueva also expressed a dislike for the amount of media coverage of black people.
So we have an issue with the amount of media coverage for black people, which is fascinating because we don't have a media, and the only media coverage that black people get is either manipulative media coverage or bad media coverage. What part do you want me to replay, Honda? You said you want me to replay the sheriff? I don't think he said anything yet.
Traits that Latinos have.
The sheriff.
Or do you want me to replay the reporter? Let me know what you want me to replay.
Was quoted as saying, "Today, activists are running around saying that law enforcement are slave catchers. We don't have the same perspective in the Latino community."
Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't expect Latinos to have the same perspective because they had different interactions with white people. Latino people weren't slaves. So why does it matter? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if I went around and said, I don't think it's legitimate for a Latino person, a Mexican in particular, to be a Catholic. If I went around and said that, that'd be some fucked up shit. That would be me completely being insensitive to the interaction between Latinos and Spanish people. But I don't say shit like that. But like a lot of people they just feel they can just blurt shit the fuck out about our history, and it's just whatever. I'm just gonna say some stupid ass shit, and you're gonna shut the fuck up. Yeah, George Lopez said he was in love with a black girl, or he wanted to date a black girl or something like that. And he said that his mom or his grandmother was upset because they was black. Which, I mean, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to be funny, but have you ever seen anybody ecstatic about dealing with black people? Sadly, black people don't even be happy about dealing with black people. So, I mean, the expectation is that other groups hold a higher regard for us than we hold for ourselves. Sadly, a lot of times that shit is true.
Gustavo says Villanueva also expressed a dislike for the amount of media coverage of black people.
So my thing is, why would Villanueva have more of a disdain for the media coverage that black people get than he has about those police gangs? What do black people being in the media have to do with him, or how does that affect his job? And I mean, he can go on. They have multiple Latino TV channels that are owned by Latinos, owned and operated by Latinos. Telemundo, Univision. I mean, like, I don't get it. I don't understand the focus and the fixation. If you don't like people, why are you focused on us? You know what I mean? And my thing is that as far as that goes, Carla, and I agree that is true. But my thing is, if that's the case, then they need to start answering for everything that they and other non-black people do. Not only do they need to be responsible for what they do, they need to be responsible for all the model minorities that they've molded. Yeah, that's true, DJ Omo.
Black people. Don't make it seem like we're all criminals.
When political activist Jasmine Canick read Gustavo's articles on the sheriff.
I mean, that's true. And that's one of the reasons why anytime I hear anything coming from the Democratic Party and it has to do with anything about criminal justice and criminal reform, automatically shoot that shit down. You should be doing that shit anyway. That's not something specific for black people because criminality is not black culture. Yeah, the monsters that they made. Facts. They need to be held to account for that. Every single time. Non-white people are racist towards black people, all of the question and inquiry needs to go back to white people, aka the United States government, the ones who created the education curriculum, the ones who made the laws that put us at the bottom because we didn't burn shit down and fight back properly. Because we need to be blamed for some of that shit too, because we should have been tearing shit the fuck up. I'd be damned if somebody tried to do some shit like that to me today. Like, I'd just be somebody, I would just be dead. I'm not about to sit there and listen to somebody tell me that I'm less than them and all this extra. Are you fucking serious? That shit's not going to go over well at all.
She was appalled.
To have a sheriff that basically looks down on us as if we're the problem, we're all that ails LA County, That's absolutely ridiculous.
And I'm not buying her fake outrage whatsoever.
Sheriff Villanueva doesn't deny anything in the article. He defends his position.
Young black men are dying at the hands of young black men.
Young black men are dying at the hands of the police gangs that you own. Are you planning on doing that? Are you ever planning on doing an interview where you're not wearing a long sleeve shirt so we can see which gang you're a part of? And why do you care about black men killing other black men? Would you rather your officers kill them? Because God knows that you don't actually care about anything. This is your black and brown coalition right here. This dude really thinks that if he got around some skinheads, they wouldn't tell him exactly what they thought of him, which is funny.
Ailes, LA County, that's absolutely ridiculous.
And I'm not buying her fake outrage whatsoever.
So if we say that criminality is not our culture, that's fake outrage. I want you guys to make sure that you understand that. To Sheriff Villanueva, if we don't agree that criminality is our culture, it's fake outrage. That's interesting. I'm still waiting for that interview in a tank top.
Sheriff Villanueva doesn't deny anything in the article. He defends his position.
Young black men are dying at the hands of young black men.
So are we going to talk about the 30-year-old Latino man, the 30-year-old Mexican man in California that your officers killed 2 years ago, and his mom is still trying to sue the LA Police Department? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Angelo Quinto, who the Antioch Police Department decided to kill in front of his mom. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. I think this is fake outrage from a pig. This is what people come to the United States to be. We got 100,000 Ukrainians coming to the state to follow the Villanueva model. This is the reason why I was talking about the Russia shit, because I knew that was what was going to happen. So this is what happens when someone that's not from the United States becomes this is what you're looking at, what you're seeing. This is Americanization. This is, look at the American flag back there. This is patriotism. This is it. Once you've come to the United States and you have your culture and you've gone through the processing machine and you get spit out onto the conveyor belt of being Americanized, if you're not, even if you are black, that's what you come out as.
Young black men are dying at the hands of young black men 99.9% of the time. Has nothing to do with law enforcement.
Where do we get that statistic? 99.9% of the time? How are we the victims of hate crimes? Black people are the group that's the most likely to get killed in a hate crime. If that's the case, how does that fit in with the 99.9% statistic? Math wasn't your strong suit. I'm starting to see that now.
How do we end that? How does Jasmine Canick propose to end that?
Get rid of Mexican gangs in the LA Police Department. Proposal number 1. Next interview in a tank top. Now, here's the thing. These people can literally just say anything, and because they're not white, it's true. It's fact. It's legitimate. Because you're not black. Yeah. Except for the fact that he's not white. He's a wannabe. He's an inauthentic, illegitimate. Whatever the fuck that turns out to be. Whatever math that does.
By pretending it's not a problem or it doesn't exist.
Doesn't that happen with all races, though?
Not to the degree that happens with the African-American community.
So you would have to prove that then. You'd first have to prove that that doesn't happen with other races. And then you'd also have to prove that there's some difference of degree where it happens with black people. You think he's able to prove that? You think he's able to prove that? That's your black and brown coalition right there. You saw that, right? He said not to the degree that it happens in black community. As you can see from looking at the screen, we're the only group of people that does anything wrong. No one else does anything wrong. Everyone else is above reprisal. We're the only group of people that does anything wrong ever. Now that you guys understand that, that's your red pill. There you go. It's your red pill for the day.
Subjects discussed: firefighters and LASD personnel.
He thinks firefighters get a parade because they rescue a cat from a tree. He surprised me by talking about how he admitted that he described 80% of his employees as far-right conservatives who are prone to believe in conspiracy theories.
Did Gustavo find anything positive to say? Absolutely nothing.
Villanueva says the LA Times has never been his fan, and those articles are nothing more than a hit piece.
What he said is what he said.
Somehow it's always somebody else's fault when white people are being racist. It's always somebody else's fault. The fake devil made me do it. It's not what I meant. Even though I specifically pronunciated and called you a nigger, that's not what I meant. And I didn't say it, even though it's on tape. You're being sensitive. You know.
Now, all of this comes at the heels of a new investigation that was just launched by the Civilian Oversight Commission into alleged deputy gangs. Alex, Christine, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
So there's that. And this is new. This is a fairly new issue. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this video just came out a day ago. If you guys can, please make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, please make sure that you guys hit the bell icon twice. Villanueva's top aide allegedly used racial slur to describe black and Latino employees. So this dude don't even care about the fact that he's a Latino. He gets so high off of his power that he forgets. And he ends up getting top aides who are comfortable with people using Latino slurs. This here, as you guys can see, this happened in December of 2020. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, second in command, used a Japanese racial slur to refer to employees of color and drew a rebuke from county oversight panel for his behavior, according to law enforcement sources in a court filing. According to a sheriff's investigation into claims against Undersheriff Tim Murakami, the county equity oversight panel included Murakami's violated the department's policy against discrimination and urged the sheriff department to take appropriate administrative action against him. In an internal record of the case reviewed by the Times shows, the record, a letter from a sheriff's office, official, formerly noting a lieutenant made the accusations of a panel's discussion, does not address whether the panel found that Murakami referred to Black and Latino employees using the slur, considered to be the Japanese version of the N-word. Now, what do you guys think about that? Is anybody surprised? If you guys are surprised, type in a 1. I'm not. I'm not surprised by this one bit. And again, this is a year ago. And this is somebody that he hired. You know what I mean? This is somebody that he hired. So he hired this person because this person has ideas in line with how he sees the world, how he sees himself. My man, One Cool Individual over on Twitch, says that Hispanic sheriff is seriously in denial. There are Hispanic gangs who have killed each other and Hispanic gangs who have killed Black people, not just Black gang members, and also Aryans, white gang members, but Black people in general just because they are Black. People remember Latasha Harlins, a 15-year-old Black girl murdered by an Asian woman in Los Angeles, but almost no one remembers or know of Cheryl Green, a 14-year-old Black girl murdered by Hispanic gang members in Los Angeles just because she was Black. And I think that he needs to deal with that directly, especially since he's in the police department. You think he will? In an interview with the Times, Murakami denied using the slur towards subordinates. He said he had heard the term and used it as a child, but now it's not part of my vocabulary, he said. He said he did not know if he considers the word derogatory. I mean, it doesn't matter what he considers. So look at it. Even in this interview where this guy was using anti-Black terms, he gets to determine whether it's derogatory or not. They don't ask a Black person. He gets to determine. The sheriff's department declined to comment, citing pending litigation. The case against Murakami comes after incidents in which other sheriffs and officials and Villanueva himself have drawn criticism from racist or insensitive remarks. So you see, the reason why I pulled this up is to show that there's a history of this with Villanueva. Now, here's my question for you guys. Do you guys recall me telling you about Villanueva? Do you guys recall me warning you about him? What do you guys think? Kind of mind-blowing, huh? It puts some things into perspective, doesn't it? It puts some things into perspective. Such episodes have taken on heightened significance at a time when policing in the U.S. is under intense scrutiny amid widespread allegations of bias against minorities. So again, see, and we know what minority, but they're too ashamed to actually say Black people. They continue to take it out. They don't even have enough respect to mention us in the damn article. Under Villanueva, Murakami rocketed to the top of the department after 4 decades as a deputy and mid-level commander, soon after taking office in 2018. Villanueva promoted Murakami 3 ranks at once to make him one of the department's assistant sheriffs. A few months later, Villanueva abruptly removed then Undersheriff Ray Levia and promoted Murakami again. All right, so this dude had to fast track, and he had to fast track from the People of Color Good Old Boys Network. He had the career fast track program from the People of Color Good Old Boys Network. After being elevated by the sheriff, Murakami served as captain, running the department's station industry. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that a black person could have done this job? Even if they could have, they wouldn't have never got the damn job. Even if they could have, they wouldn't have got the job. You see that? You see what you law said? You warned me about him a year ago, and it's only going to get worse. He's going to eventually be running for governor of California, and they're going to love him. America loves people like that and say stuff like that. They love them. Racism is the single one thing that unites everybody that's not black in the United States. They love it. Everybody that's everybody's favorite, anybody in the United States, has blurted out some anti-black racist shit. Joe Rogan, Conor McGregor, Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, anybody that's anybody in the United States, it's a rite of passage to have to say some fuck shit about black people. If not, name me somebody that's popular that hasn't. Even other black people. Even if you black. Candace Owens, Larry Elder, Officer Tatum, Herschel Walker, Kanye West. List goes on and on. It doesn't stop. His tenure there was not without controversy. Last year, a jury awarded $8.1 million to an industry deputy who alleged he'd suffered retaliation and harassment by Murakami and others after he complained about misconduct at the station. I mean, again, this is Villanueva. I told you this dude is part of the gang. They ain't doing nothing. And anytime black people need to get the MLK speech, we need to double down on exactly whatever it is that we were doing that caused that speech. I'm so tired of MLK. MLK is not the boss. He's another black person. The only people that give him any value or give his words any value is the fact that white people just continue to repeat it. That doesn't mean shit to me. Martin Luther King also cheated on his wife and dated white women, but I guarantee you that they won't encourage you to do that. Well, he liked a white woman. He didn't. I shouldn't say dated. It was illegal back then. But they won't tell you to do that. And also another thing that Martin Luther King did was wanted reparations, and they won't give you reparations. So if you're not behind at least 4 out of 5 things of that person that you're quoting, then get the fuck out of my face about it. Fucking mention Martin Luther King to me. You either have your daughter ready for me for a date, give me my reparations, or resegregate. One of the 3. See, you're consistent with what Martin Luther King says. Let's test that theory. We should do everything that Martin Luther King said and did and liked, right? Where's my concubines at? Let me do it like Jim Kelly on Enter the Dragon. I'll pick this one, that one, that one, and that one. Oh, now things changed. Fuck out of here. Question: many LAPD members have distinctive tattoos showing affiliations to racist groups. Can you recognize them? Oh yeah, it's a helmet with a Nazi swastika in it, or a SS lightning bolt, or sometimes it's a skull with a sombrero and 2 guns under it. That's why Villanueva won't do an interview with a short sleeve shirt on, because he got them all over the place. He probably got other tattoos too. I wouldn't be surprised if he got La M.A. tattoos. The investigation into Murakami's comments stemmed from a legal claim filed earlier this year by Lieutenant Carlos Parga, a department veteran of Mexican descent, who alleged Murakami regularly used the epithet toward him in his presence when discussing black job candidates at the industry station. So what we got to understand is that until proven otherwise, all these people talk about us like this when we're not around. Since they want to be able to do it, and they want the notoriety for being able to do it, then we need to give it to them and act like all of them do it. Give the all treatment. You're all like that until you prove that you're not. Since it's so funny. I think they're right. I think we are woke. Maybe we just need to start carrying ourselves like you're all Klansmen. And we'll go from there. I think that's how it should have been. I don't know too much about the spider web on the elbow, Honda. I've seen that tattoo before, but I don't know if it's gang affiliated or anything. I do know the ones that I listed are, though, but I don't know about the spider web. A black lieutenant who applied for a position under Murakami, Tracy Stewart, also filed a legal claim, which is a precursor to a lawsuit. In it, she alleges Murakami denied her the job because of her race, and that the sheriff's department routinely passes over black candidates for senior level positions. I mean, we know that. This is a given. Again, I got to ask, why are these black people working for the police department when you know that this is going to be how this is? You know this is how these people are. Why are you even trying? You know that's how they are, so why are you even trying? You know what I'm saying? He's demonstrated a racial animus through his use of the slur. Alan Romero, an attorney representing both Parga and Stewart, said of Murakami. Parga declined through his attorney to comment for this report. Stewart did not hear Murakami use the word, according to the legal claim she filed with the county, but told the Times she was disappointed to learn that Murakami allegedly used it to refer to her. After hearing that, a lot of things started to make sense. I would have been okay not getting the job because sometimes that's just how it goes. But to think I would have never been considered because of my race makes me physically ill. I don't know why that makes you ill. I'm really tired of black people acting as if racism is just the worst thing in the world. We are much stronger, and there's nothing that these weak people can do to hurt us. So I'm extremely tired of people acting. You shouldn't be heartbroken that somebody who hates you shows that they hate you. Does that make any sense? Do you guys understand that? I don't get that. It needs to be normalized that it's not a surprise when these people act like that. If people continue to start acting like these people are capable of anything other than racism, then people are going to start looking at us like we're crazy, like they already do when we're saying people are racist. We've created that problem. We haven't treated racists like they need to be treated. We act as if they have some kind of moral standard. Oh my God, I'm surprised you act like that. I'm not. It made you use up all the data. My bad, Ashanti. Watch the replay and hit it on the Wi-Fi, bro. I feel bad. We're gonna have to put a fund together and buy Ashanti some more data. We can't have that out here. You gotta have data. They slow that shit all the way down. Like it's dangerous as slow as they make that shit when you run out of data. I had them kind of phone plans before. That shit ain't no joke. That shit is not a damn joke. This was information that was brought to my attention and not something I sought out. At some point, you have to take a stand. Parga, who filed a retaliation and discrimination lawsuit in June, worked as a lieutenant for Murakami from August 2016 until March 2018, Ramiro said. Murakami, who is Japanese American, knew that Parga spoke some Japanese, the attorney said. So you see, this is an Asian man who's doing this. Is anybody surprised? If anybody is surprised, type in a 1. If you're not surprised, type in a 2. During that time, Parga alleges in his lawsuit, Murakami directed multiple comments at him, telling him, "You're a dumbass blank," adding the slur and saying it again, "I'm not going to give those blank a job," in reference to black employees. So again, this is what they as a collective do when you're not looking. You won't be part of that they when proven otherwise, which I don't know how you're going to ever prove anybody's not doing something when you're not looking, because you're not looking at them all the time. So I guess motherfuckers just going to have to be on their guard. The lawsuit alleges that Murakami once commented aloud about his wife's Mexican heritage, saying, "If it wasn't for me, my kids would be dumb." And this is what I'm talking about. Motherfuckers can be in cross-cultural and interracial relationships and be racist as fuck. Look what he just said about his own damn wife. They literally do that. Them white dudes and white women that be with black people, they do this shit. Asians, they do this shit. Even black motherfuckers do this weird ass shit. Motherfuckers be on some weird shit. I would never say no shit like that about my girlfriend. I would never say no shit about anybody like that. Who says some dumbass shit like that? Shit, if it wasn't for me, my kids would be dumb as fuck. Now, who the one that told him that because he's Asian, he's smart? White people. Who the one that told him because his wife is Mexican, she dumb? White people. But all these motherfuckers had a nerve to have an issue with us, when white people are the ones that made up all these fake ass stereotypes about everybody. I don't think that Asian people are significantly smarter than anybody else. None of them impressed me while I was in high school. I dominated everyone. So I wasn't impressed by any Asian person or their subpar intelligence. I wasn't impressed by anybody white and their subpar intelligence either. I've never been impressed by anybody's intelligence other than my own, especially in an academic forum. White people would tell you the hierarchy of who's smart versus who's not. Oh, the Asian people are the smartest, and then then we're after them, and then just the niggers are the dumbest. Except for the fact that I usually outscored everybody by 2 letter grades in my school, every school that I went to, or I got a perfect score on shit that motherfuckers couldn't score perfect on. And I got receipts. So again, Just because white people say that Asian people are so smart, I'm not impressed. Just because there's some weird ass admission policies at Harvard, I'm not impressed. If it makes you feel any better, you'll always be dumb to me. So I don't know, you know. What if his wife was a genius and he was average at best? This is how Asian people are. Pay very close attention. Asian man, AAPI hate crime. That's your brown and black coalition, or your yellow. No, I wasn't a good one because I'm not a coon. And I didn't try to act any different because I was smart. I'm the same way right here, right now. And I'll be the first one to throw some shit like that in teacher's face. You need to pay attention more. You need to challenge me more. I said that shit to my teacher. One of my classes in one of my colleges, I was talking to somebody in the class behind me, and they said, you need to pay attention. And I said, for what? I have 100% in here. You need to challenge me. And clearly, while I'm not paying attention, I'm still not being challenged. I said that shit to my microeconomics teacher. Her name is Dr. McGee. One of my teachers at the community college that I went to, she was like, nobody gets hundreds on my test. I said, I'm going to get 100 on every single test that you come up with. And I did. And she was just like, man, this is crazy. And I said, no, you're crazy for thinking that you were going to make me miss a question. That's the cockiness we got to have. You're going to tell me I need to pay attention. What's your evidence I need to pay attention? I'm not paying attention, and I'm getting 100% on your easy-ass exams that everybody else is failing. The fuck I need to pay attention for? You've not presented shit that shows me I need to pay attention. I need to continue to do exactly what I'm doing because that's getting me 100% in your class. They don't like that shit. I had a good teacher, though, this Indian dude, for anatomy and physiology, man. He was a really smart dude, and I really liked his class. But a lot of times those teachers, they're not trying to do nothing but make you feel bad. So you make them feel bad first. You get on top of that shit first. I hope they would just say that stupid ass shit to me all the time. I hope you're paying attention. I pay tuition. That's the only thing I need to do. I don't need to pay attention. You're not capable of producing an exam that's a challenge for me. And sure enough, they didn't. In his lawsuit, Parga alleges Murakami has blocked several of his attempts to transfer to new positions within the department and claims supervisors refuse to promote him out of fear Murakami will retaliate against them if they do so. The lawsuit also alleges Murakami told various sheriff's employees that as long as he remained at the department, Parga would not advance. You see this? After Parga filed his legal claim against the county, which included a summary of his accusations, sheriff's officials opened an internal affairs investigation into him, alleging that he had failed to report the derogatory remarks when he had first heard them, Romero said. That investigation found the charges against Parga to be unresolved, Romero said. Parga's allegations against Murakami were investigated by the department's Equity Investigations Unit, which forwarded the case to the County Equity Oversight Panel. Following a meeting in September, The panel concluded Murakami had violated the department's policy against racial discrimination and harassment, according to the letter reviewed by the Times, which was sent to Parga late last month by Sheriff's International Affairs Board. I'm sorry, by the Sheriff's Internal Affairs Bureau. Law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation and Ramiro said that the panel reviewed interviews that sheriff's investigators conducted with Parga and a second law enforcement officer who said he'd heard Murakami use the slur. What do you guys think? Yeah, the school system is there to break the spirit of the black children. That's one of the reasons why you got to beat that shit. And then once you beat it, you got to repeatedly show them how inferior it is to your brain, which I did repeatedly. I used to just take hard classes just to take them. I was in the honors college in college. And I used to always let them know, well, you know, there's nothing that you're going to throw at me that's going to be a problem. Like people got to learn how to, y'all should look up this term called war of attrition. Look up this term called war of attrition. And the reason I say that people should look that up is because that's what we're dealing with. The panel recommended that the sheriff's department adopt its findings and take steps to address the misconduct, according to the letter. So all they give is a recommendation. They don't give any disciplinary action. A spokesperson for the sheriff's department did not answer questions about the agency's response to the panel's recommendation. Murakami said he was not notified of the panel's findings nor disciplined. Murakami denied he and other senior officials in the department have treated Black and Latino employees unfairly and said there are plenty of African-American executives I support and promote. This is what they always say. Who do you support and promote? And how do you do it? How do you support and how do you promote these people? That's the question, guys. How do they do that? You promote and support this individual? How so? How's that work, guys? Does it? Does it work? That's what I'm curious about. He named several Black executives and said the allegations in the lawsuit were fabricated against him to disparage his reputation by people upset over their failure to advance. A retired sheriff lieutenant who is Black and asked to remain anonymous told the Times that when he worked under Murakami at the industry station, Murakami once referred to him as "you people," which he took to be a reference to his race, which it is. That's one of those little white microaggressions. White people love saying that kind of shit. Well, you people. That's why I say that shit. The lieutenant said he filed a complaint alleging nepotism and unfair treatment to people of color at the station, which was determined to be unfounded. Of course it was. A white person will never find somebody who's on the side of anti-Black racism guilty of anything, ever. And we're not going to act like there's not a track record of that. And if you guys haven't smashed that like button or shared the video out, please make sure that you guys do. Villanueva has faced criticism within the agency for his own racially insensitive remarks. Over the summer, he likened LA County's LA County's supervisor Hilda Souls to La Malnine, a term used to demean a woman as a traitor or a sellout. So this is basically the same as, I guess they must be calling a Mexican woman or a Latino woman a mud shark or something like that. That's these cops. That's these white men, these Asian men, black men. We got to stop acting like motherfuckers are our friends and that they want to be cool with us. Stop it. Always go in on them motherfuckers at all times. Always. You can't come up with your own style, you fucking weirdos. Just say shit like that to these motherfuckers. Your IQ's supposed to be high. Can't you figure out some kind of style and some form of music instead of stealing every goddamn thing? Is there anything left on the planet that you haven't stolen? Just say that kind of shit to motherfuckers. I think I'm gonna do that shit tonight when I get to work. I'm gonna just stand there and stare at the person that I'm coming to relieve. When they ask me what I'm staring, I'm just looking. You a whole ass motherfucking crook. Come on, let's go. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, you don't have any problem just being blatantly fucking racist. So why can't I? And that's not even racism. That's just me being a motherfucking ass. The name refers to a historical figure in Mexican culture who was the interpreter and slave of the Spanish conqueror Herman Cortez, and became a symbol of betrayal for facilitating the conquest of the Aztec Empire. Man, I'm using my laptop and the words is like super duper tiny. It's so hard for me to see. So I apologize. And if you guys can, please make sure, if you haven't smashed the like button, please make sure that you guys smash the like button. Also, if you can, please make sure that you share the video out. Like, y'all should see how small these motherfucking words are. Like, I gotta go away from the microphone and look at the words and then come back up and read this shit. Like, I'm like, damn, this don't make any sense. Then I gotta go all the way over here and I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. I'm like, Aztec grape, what? The name refers to a historical figure in Mexican culture who was the interpreter and slave of Spanish conqueror Hernan Cortez and became a symbol of betrayal for facilitating the conquest of the Aztec Empire. There we go. In 2012, Villanueva and the department were sued by a black custody assistant who said Villanueva referred to him as a knuckle dragger, which is he's calling him a monkey, calling him an ape, because that's what white people do. They can't do anything else other than that. Literally, that's their resume of world history. Only. Which the jailer interpreted as a racial slur. I mean, it's not an interpretation. He's calling him a monkey. This is what we do. And then other white people get on code and act like they don't know what the fuck they talking about and shit when they've used the same slur. You want to know what any of these anti-black slurs are? Just ask a woman. They'll tell you they've called a man that at some point. Because, you know, everybody loves black men. Villanueva has denied making the comment and said there was no way of wrongdoing. The county settled with the custody assistant for $10,000. In July, Villanueva's former chief of staff was reassigned after posting on social media that Andres Gardano, the 18-year-old who was fatally shot in the back by a deputy in Gardena in June, chose his fate. What I mean, that's what they say about white people say that about us all the time. If we just happen to be like, you know, motherfucking Botham John chose his fate, you know. Philando Castile chose his fate. Women good for that one too. A sheriff's spokesperson, Deputy Juanita Navarro Suarez, was also removed from her post after she posted racist stereotypes in reference to a reward for information leading to the arrest of the suspect in the ambush shooting of two deputies sitting in a patrol car in Compton. So they left it out of here, which means that this fat Mexican woman probably said some anti-black shit, because it's always the ugly ones. It's always like ugly ass motherfuckers that are always saying weird ass shit. And they keep these people in the police force, which means that they're performing the way that they're supposed to. So pay attention to that. Important. This labeling black folks as a monkey is the biggest fallacy ever. I know, right? And then when you refute it, somehow we're being racist. But the reason why we're refuting it is because white people can't stop calling us that. So then when we address, well, let's actually compare. And then when we do the comparison, it's, oh, here comes the racist stuff again. You mean when you called me a fucking monkey? And then I had to remind you that I actually look nothing like a monkey? Somehow me telling you that I don't look like a monkey, you should check yourself before saying that shit. Somehow that's me being racist after you had the audacity to call me a fucking monkey. That's literally the way these motherfuckers operate. So that's why it's not worth even giving a fuck if they say anything. You may as well be as offensive and unapologetic as you can, because it's not going to matter anyway. All they're going to come back and say is something stupid that doesn't make any sense, or something to just carry a narrative through. Oh, you're racist. I mean, you just compare me to a monkey all the time. Like, okay. Because that's what happened. You're being anti-white. No, I'm being pro-truth. You lied and said I look like a monkey. Now I'm correcting that shit. See how that works? Same shit they always say. Facts ain't racist. IQ, crime stats, monkey symmetry. Later, she deleted the post. See, and they always delete. They always delete. They never leave the shit up. Leave that shit up. Fuck you deleting shit for? Leave that shit up. When asked to respond at the time, she said everyone has an opinion and that's it. So she's unapologetic in her racism. Now, if I called her all kinds of shit, I'd be in trouble. Because I could, though. I could. I really could, for real, for real. But I'm not. But I could, though. So, what do you guys think about that? Oh, absolutely, Honda. That's what I'm here for, bro. That's why anytime, like, if I'm having a dialogue with y'all, please don't never get offended. Like, I'm trying to come at y'all crazy or some shit. I'm not doing that. I'm never going to do that. If you've been watching my content for a minute, I'm never just going to start going in on somebody. Even if I don't agree with you, it's a lot of times when motherfuckers don't agree with some shit that I say. I'm not going to ever go in with you because of how you feel about some shit. I'm only just trying to give you a wider array of being able to think about shit in different ways. That's important. I get tired of seeing motherfuckers bullied. I see motherfuckers do that shit at my job all the time. I'm like, damn, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? And they be like, damn, I wish I knew. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to not know. I want motherfuckers to always be ready. Do you have stats on the state with the least police killing of black residents? Where the state is and has a high black population? I don't know. The least amount of black killings, man. You got me, DJ Elmo. I don't know. I wish I did. So I want to show y'all this real quick. Man, I'm going to have to do some other videos. Because I didn't think this was going to last this long, but we actually got into a really good conversation, so it was worth it. But, man, I'm going to have to bust out, like, I'm off tomorrow. I'm going to have to bust out, like, 3 streams to get through these screens that I got up. Because I want to get through all these. You know what I'm saying? What do y'all think about this? Prominent Maine Democrat arrested on CP. Charges bail set at only $50K. Man, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. What do y'all think about that right there? What y'all think about that right there? This is fairly recent. It's from March 25th. Prominent Maine Democrat arrested on CP. Charges bail set at only $50K. What do y'all think about them prices? There should be no bail for those people. Do you guys agree with one cool individual? I do. If you agree with one cool individual, type in a 1. If you don't, type in a 2. I agree. It shouldn't be nothing. A prominent Democratic politician and mega donor in Maine was arrested and charged with possession of CP, but his bail was only set at $50,000. 75-year-old Elliot Cutler. Elliot Cutler was arrested on Friday and charged with 4 counts of possession of unlawful sexually explicit material related to subjects under the age of 12 years old, according to News Center Maine. Sorry about that. A 2-month investigation led police to conduct a search at 2 of Cutler's residences earlier in the week. Now, that's nice. This dude's sitting around being a disgusting degenerate, and he's able to afford 2 houses. What do you guys think about that? This dude is a disgusting freak of nature. He previously worked for the Carter administration in the 1970s in the Office of Management and Budget. He also has worked for the office of Maine Senator Ed Muskie, also a Democrat. Cutler ran for governor in Maine in 2010 and 2014, both times as an independent candidate. Cutler was held on a $50,000 bail at Hancock County Jail and was expected to appear in court on Monday. Each of the 4 counts carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Return his donations immediately. Following Cutler's arrest, Maine GOP executive Director Jason Savage called on Democrats who have received donations from the fundraising efforts of Cutler to return from them. Elliot Cutler is a benefactor of Maine Democratic Party candidates and has traveled in elite Democratic circles for many decades, Savage said in an email statement. His beneficiaries nationwide need to return his donations immediately. This needs to start here in Maine today. The Maine GOP account on Twitter posted many of Cutler's donations, including those made to President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, and former President Barack Obama. Man, what's up with that? Cutler reportedly made donations to Democratic politicians in Maine, as well as in the state Democratic parties in New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Ohio, Colorado, Iowa, Virginia, Nevada, and Florida. Former candidate Maine was arrested on CP charges. And that's it. What do you guys think about that? That's crazy. What do you guys think? Wild stuff, man. Exactly. You got to ask yourself the question. And then you got to ask yourself which people. We talking about, quote, these people, quote, or are we talking about Democrats? Because remember Ed Buck? But at the same time, Ed Buck falls into 2 categories of these people per se. So there's that. So, ladies and gentlemen, players and pimps, we've been live for 2 hours and 37 minutes. This wraps up another episode of Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of news reviews. Please make sure you guys leave a comment after the stream. Make sure you guys share this video out. If you guys are not subscribed to the backup channels, make sure you guys hit the backup channels. Got more streams coming for you guys next week. And I will catch you all on the next one. All right. Peace.